Can we have some news that you can actually talk about? Okay, you got it. Next
All
up.
right. So next up, we got a interview from Madstech. He did with Carl about HDZero, and it's really a freaking good interview. If you have not seen it, you should watch it. It's excellent. It's like an hour and 15 minutes almost, and he goes through basically everything you would be interested in currently with the system, some previous information, some future information, why some things happen. He talks about open source and margins, and yeah, just some great information. We showed a little preview that Madstech had posted before, but this is like got a ton of information if you're interested. So definitely something to check out. We also have a write-up. I did a write-up on a new website I started called the FPVnews.com. I don't know how much will end up there, but currently we've got a couple things up there. One of them is a write-up about this a little bit, and it just goes over some of the things that they talk about. If you scroll down a little bit there, if we look at, I've got a list of what he's developed, and I think it's pretty interesting because basically Carl has developed the ASIC, which is the 5680, the baseband ASIC that we've talked about before, that basically made HDZero possible. He's got the DM 6300 and 6302. So those were previously ADI analog devices. Those were ADI chips. And he basically paid 4 people in Silicon Valley for 4 years, 3.5 years, to develop solutions to solve the ADI problem, which is having to buy expensive ADI chips. So he's got that solution down, and then he actually just those developments, those 3 things, were $10 million in development.
Yikes!
And then his team also helped develop a partner company develop an FPGA that would work for the VRX. So the FPGA, Madstech has talked about this before, went from like $20 to $200+ because of the pandemic.
Wow!
And so they needed a solution, and luckily he had a friend who had developed an FPGA, so they worked with Diffamath to develop it correctly for the goggles, and like he needed it, and yeah, they were able to build it out for the goggles. So that's one of the reasons they're able to do the things they're doing. Basically, if they had to buy the ADI, if they had to buy the FPGA, like all these things would basically have not made the product possible. And Carl has been ahead of the game trying to develop these chips so that they can continue to produce them without going bankrupt. The VTX can't be $150, so they're doing the best they can to get that price down.
It's crazy. He is such I don't know what the word for it. He is such a hustler. Yes. But a hustler implies effort, but he's also just doing so much development and so much, these roadblocks and obstacles keep coming up, and he keeps finding ways to solve them. He believes in this system so hard.
Something he talks about now is, he has these 4 developers in Silicon Valley, 4 employees, and, he is kind of backed off from even doing the combination of the parts. So he's talking about how, his future ASIC will combine the RF modulator and demodulator into one chip so that you don't have to have the other pieces. And like, it'll start to pack more into the chip. So it's not, you don't need to have other pieces like the MIPI translator chip. That's a separate chip right now, and it won't be in the future. It'll be part of the ASIC.
So we're going to end up with one gigantic, the chips are already pretty big. Are we just going to end up with one humongous ASIC?
It seems like it'll be more efficient and smaller because they can combine them all together and get all the functions in one.
Oh, interesting. Because they've got like 3 or so big chips right now. But if they get those combined into one, then we could get smaller VTXs, less heat buildup, etc. That's really exciting.
Yeah. But what Carl says is that's boring to him. Like, he's bored combining chips. So he's like letting other people combine the chips, and he's doing all the work to develop higher frame rates, higher resolutions, pushing the latency down. He's developing the goggle side to get the glass to glass down. He talks about in this, right now they've got 4 to 6 millisecond fixed glass to glass with the goggles. And that's with a 90 frames per second camera that they've developed, and they're going to have a 90 frames per second support with the goggle.
Nice.
So essentially, and he's doing that because he talked to Evan, and they really think that frames per second is the big important part for racers. If they can get more latency shaved out of the equation, and that frames per second may be a big deal. So yeah, he's able to get to 90, and they're promising at least 1080-60 for the new chip when they do the new chip. That won't be in the goggle, but that'll be in the new chip. So,
wow.
Yeah. He's also promising backwards compatibility with basically everything except like, the new VTXs won't talk to your old VRX, but the old VTXs will talk to the new VRX. So
right. So forwards compatibility with the compatibility
kind of.
Yeah. So 661 FPV wants to know, do we know if the new Fat Shark Dominator is HDZero yet? What we can say is that Carl said that it wasn't. We have a public statement from Carl going around saying that it's not. Now, I don't know if anyone would know that, he would know that, right? Because if it was HDZero, he would have sold him the chips. So the fact that Carl said it wasn't HDZero is pretty much confirmation that it's not HDZero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some other interesting things real quick. They've moved the prototype. So it's June to July for the goggle prototype. And then the first PVT that they'll sell is September to October.
When did Fat Shark say when their goggle was supposed to be available?
It will ship in June, is what they said. So I'm thinking they're going to take pre-orders on Friday.
That's shots across the bow, right? Clearly.
Yeah, I think they're going to take pre-orders on Friday. They said pre-orders before the sale, and then sale in June, or pre-orders before the shipping, and shipping in June. So.
Crazy Car Channel, no price for the Fat Shark system has been announced. No price has been, no price for the, has Carl announced price? Desired price for his goggles?
The desired price is to somehow have the HDZero system inside of the goggle and still hit around the same price as like a Skyo 4X or HDO2.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sebi D wants to know, did we check to verify that that really was a comment from Carl?
Yes.
Did you verify that? Yeah.
Yes.
Are you sure? How do you know?
Yeah, because Ryan Quillette said it to him.
Ryan Quillette verified it. Okay, great. Oh my God, that's actually like actual journalism instead of us just shooting
I didn't
our mouths
ask
off.
Ryan Quillette, but Ryan Quillette posted on the HDZero Discord about it. But yes, I made sure.
Cygnus, thank you for a $10 super chat. Should I keep waiting? I was about to buy the HDO2 last week, but I had a hunch something new was around the corner. I'm going to answer this question because I feel like I can honestly answer this question. My answer to that question would be the same no matter what, whether I knew anything or not. There's a new product that you might be interested in. You don't know, but you're going to find out about it in 4 days.
Yeah.
Obviously, you should wait 4 days to just see. It's not going to kill you. It's not like you won't be able to buy an HDO2 goggle on Friday if you decide this new system, whatever it is, doesn't seem right, like it's right for you. Obviously you should wait.
I think you should wait, no matter what. I think you should wait until the HDZero prototype comes out. I think because HDZero prototype has the ability, possibly, to be the similar or same price as an HDO2 or Skyo 4X with more features and an integrated receiver. I think
that's April, May, June. That's more than 4 days.
Sure, 100%. But if you're going to spend, I mean, we're in May, so if you're going to spend, he says June to July for the first prototypes to see the goggle. To me, if you're going to spend $500 to $600 on a goggle,
I hear you. You're not wrong. To me, if it's 4 days, it's like you should just wait. Why would you 100%. Not wait 4 days? Yeah. If it's 2 months. And it's 2 months, June to July, for the prototype.
Yeah.
But maybe that'll get pushed back because the world is crazy right now. And it's June to July. And then when will you be able to buy one? So maybe it'll be 4 months or 6 months, or I could see not waiting for the Orca goggle.
But then we also have a DJI V3 that's supposed to be coming.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We don't know.
To me, this is not I've heard enough about it. To me, this is not a time to buy a new goggle. This is the time to wait, even without the 4-day thing.
Valid. Valid.
Yeah.
Bad for Life says, I would be surprised if the HDZero system comes out this year. Mo in the Discord says, we already know the specs of the HDZero goggles. What more do you need to know?
Carl is 100% sure that the goggles will come out this year. He just doesn't, he said that in Madstech's thing. So no matter what, they'll come out this year.
Okay. Well, it's shaping up to be a very interesting year for FPV, which if you go back 3 months, there's DJI, there's analog. Analog goggles have pretty much peaked. And there's just not very many more interesting things you can do with analog goggles. Orca has pretty much done them. I mean, obviously, there's always room for small improvements, but analog has pretty much peaked. And then DJI, and then HDZero, but HDZero haven't, maybe making a goggle, trying to get their VTXs up, and then all of a sudden there's leaks and rumors and suspicions about maybe a V3 DJI goggle, and now Fat Shark says they're coming out with something. It's a very, very interesting time, no doubt.
If I was buying a goggle, I would wait. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
All right.
People in the comments are wondering whether the Fat Shark system is Open HD. That would be interesting.
That does not make much sense, but yes, I see. I guess where you could come with that.
Yeah. Interesting. What they're actually saying is, please don't let it be Open HD. Okay, so I mischaracterized it a little.